All right, good morning, traders. Today is November 7th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading division of the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you to everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Appreciate your subscriptions, following my content, leaving kind words, sharing my content. Special shout out, Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, thank you for sharing the content. I appreciate that. Again, thank you to all my paying subscribers. Really love that. Thank you so much. I try to provide actionable, profitable content every single day. Hey, let's go ahead and take a look at the market, see what happened yesterday, and see what we can do to make some profit again today. Hey, good morning, Julie. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning, 670.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab 5 yesterday made lower highs, lower lows, closing under bearish traps under their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute downtrend. Gold made a higher high and a higher low, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. Silver made an outside day, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. USO starts a new downtrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. UNG in a daily uptrend, made an outside day, it's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. US dollar index remains in an uptrend and closed near the 99.75 area. SPY max pain is 672 with a put to call ratio of about 2.4 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. Those index options expire at 4:15. Security options expire at 4. If this is your first time here and you're out there in podcast land, digital land, all of these underneath the bulls side right here, they're in daily downtrends underneath the 17 EMA. Daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. Over the 17 EMA. If they're over here by the bears, they're in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to them under the bulls here, they're building out a launch pad from which to launch higher, otherwise known as a bull flag. If they're over here and they have a little star next to it, they're building out a platform from which to dip lower, and otherwise known as a bear flag. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the market this morning. And you can see here, SPY candle from yesterday, lower high, lower low. We're already opening up underneath that candle. Not a good sign for the bulls anyways. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Weekly chart still in an uptrend. Nothing's broken there yet. And monthly chart still in an uptrend. Nothing is broken there yet. Take a look at the 2-hour chart. You can see the 3 EMA and the candlesticks riding right on top of it is under the 8 EMA and the 17, giving us a 2-hour downtrend into the close yesterday. And as far as the 10-minute goes, you can see we have the candlesticks in the 3 underneath the 8 and the 17, and we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close yesterday. All right, let's take a look at what do I want to look at here? Let's take a look at QQQ, see how they closed. And QQQ basically did about the same thing, mirror image of SPY. 10-minute downtrend, again, underneath the, you can see it right here, underneath VWAP and underneath the 17 EMA. The 3 and the candlesticks are riding underneath the 8. And all 3 of them, the 3, the candlesticks, and the 8, are riding up underneath the 17 EMA on QQQ. 2-hour downtrend for QQQ as well. As you can see, the candlesticks, the 3 EMA, which is that thin yellow line, okay, is riding underneath the 8 EMA, which is the white line right here. And all 3 of those, the 8, the 3 EMA, and the candlesticks, underneath the 17 EMA here. So QQQ in a 2-hour downtrend, just like SPY. Daily candle for QQQ, lower high, lower low, closing under, you can see right here, bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Still in an uptrend. Nothing's broken yet. It's a pullback, a harsh pullback in a daily uptrend, and still up here in quadrant 4, so that's still bullish and still in an uptrend for QQQ. Same goes for SPY. All right, nothing's broken yet. Still bullish and still in an uptrend. Just not moving up. Okay, actually moving back instead of up. All right, so there's SPY and QQQ. FNGU, pretty much same thing. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. It's still in an uptrend, but harsh pullback here. So still in an uptrend. In the middle of, at the bottom of quadrant 4. So that is still bullish up there at the bottom of quadrant 4. And in an uptrend. All right. Now, if they start breaking these lows, the Fab 5 below these spikes that happen below the 17, they will convert the uptrends into downtrends. So we'll see what happens. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Diamond Dow puts in Diamond Dow is now in a downtrend because here is a low, got a 1 candle high, and they made a lower low, or you can call it a pullback. Depends how you look at it. This is kind of all still the same pullback, but they're now in a downtrend because they got a high up here, low down here. So Diamond Dow in the daily chart now making a downtrend. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under bearish trap, and underneath the 17 EMA. IWM. See what we got here. IWM is still pulling back. They're already in a downtrend. You can see here's the low right here. They made a lower low. So IWM and Diamond Dow already starting downtrends. Again, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap. Again, that 3 EMA and the candlesticks riding up underneath the 8 EMA. All 3 of them underneath the 17. So you can see right here IWM downtrend. And lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap. Right here, in a downtrend, but up in quadrant 4. So it's kind of not doing the right stuff. So we're going to call it neutral up here. It is bullish, still holding this latitude right here. So I'm going to call it neutral to bullish because we're not in an uptrend. But it's up here in quadrant 4. This is still a bullish territory. It's just not acting bullish currently. So lower high, lower low, closing under the bearish trap. Up here in the middle of quadrant 4, so neutral, bullish, and in a downtrend for IWM. Let's take a look at GLD. Gold having a hard time bouncing. All right. Maybe a double bottom. We'll see what happens. Gold for yesterday, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Still, gold is in a downtrend because they made a low here. It made a lower low, so they're still in a downtrend on gold. They're kind of in the middle of quadrant 4, so they're still neutral bullish. Again, not moving in an uptrend. They're still in that downtrend, so neutral bullish on gold. And in the middle of quadrant 4 right there. Let's take a look at silver. Silver is still in an uptrend. They haven't made a lower low yet. Okay, so they're still in their uptrend. They're just not moving up. Yesterday's candle was an outside day, which is a higher high and a lower low. They closed inside a bearish trap underneath the 17 EMA. Look at it up here in quadrant 4. That's kind of still in an uptrend. Bottom of quadrant 4. It's still bullish up there. Not getting that red rubber school ball bounce, but we'll see what they get. Silver just having a hard time getting back up there to attack the all-time highs. So there's silver, still bullish up there. Just not moving up in that uptrend, but just not moving up right now. Okay, so right now we put in a higher low, so hopefully the bulls get inspired to start printing a higher high. We'll see what happens, okay? We'll see what happens. There's silver on the daily chart. USO, So USO starts a new downtrend again, okay? That didn't last long, did it? Okay, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish cross or underneath the bearish strap, underneath the 17 EMA. Still in neutral land right up here next to the midpoint. Again, I'll zoom way out. Not in the upper third, so it's not bullish. Not in the lower third, so it's not bearish. And they're right back here at the neutral land, right here at the midpoint. Lower low, and in a downtrend, okay? Because they were in an uptrend. They made a higher high, and they stopped moving up. And now they made a lower low, so now they're in a downtrend for USO. So still not ready yet, okay? Not ready yet on the USO. UNG getting a cold snap pop. That's what we're getting right now. A little bit of the weather. UNG made a higher. This is my quad lines. Okay, UNG made a higher low, and you can see they got a higher high, so they're in an uptrend. All right, UNG candle is an outside day. It's a higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. It is in an uptrend, but still in quadrant one. Okay, if you look at the past history of UNG, they cannot hold the highs. All right, they go up and they give it up. Not every time, but I'm just going to say in the past 2 years, very often. All right, very, 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 very often. All right, so in an uptrend and acting bullish with that cold snap weather report, putting a little pressure on the natural gas industry, so they're getting a little pop. All right, so they're in an uptrend. We'll see how long it lasts. Shouldn't last long. We'll see what happens. So there's UNG. Again, we want them to move up and hold the higher ground. And that's something UNG has struggled with for about 2 or 3 years here. So right now in an uptrend, but still bearish down here in quadrant one, and trying to correct the situation by moving out of here. So currently in an uptrend for UNG. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. T2101, so yesterday we moved down, and participation and market breadth decreased. It's a little bit of a difference there. All right, we did rally in the morning, so there's a little rally. We moved down, and then we moved up, and we lost participation there, and then we moved down, and we gained a little participation, but we did move lower than what we did before. So here we are with T2101 losing participation as we're moving down. So maybe a turnaround is being staged soon. We'll see. Employment situation report is coming out at 8:30 today. That is a market mover, so be prepared for a little bit of volatility early this morning at 8:30. T2122, we're back in the sell zone. All right, you can see we hung out here at the midpoint, and now we find ourselves back in the sell zone yet again yesterday. Just tight chop right through there. Again, putting in, there's a low, putting in lower low, and even lower low down here, and then a series of micro higher lows and higher highs right up here into the seller's chop zone. So we'll see what happens with T2122. Let's take a look at T2123. Again, we got price action still in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart. Underneath the 200 SMA, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Okay, this is the all-time high. You can see this is the pullback from the all-time high. We made a low and we made lower lows, so we're still in a downtrend. We're under the 200 SMA. And yesterday, all we did was move down and over to the right. So no signs of exhaustion there. I would have thought we'd have got a nice bounce on this one. We did. Not enough, though. Clearly not enough to get to the midpoint or back up to the bullish section. So maybe another big spike down is in order. So we could see SPY running down to 650. We'll see one more time and re-challenge that low. So here's T2123, 15-minute downtrend. On the lower time frame, definitely bearish. On the daily time frame, still bullish up there, up in quadrant 4. But on the 15-minute, we're still bearish and in a downtrend on T2123. T2123 3-bar, still in a downtrend. We haven't made any higher highs. Again, we're caught underneath the 200 SMA. Not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. You can see right here, T2123, 15-minute and the 3-bar, both in downtrends underneath the 200 SMA. Now, if we pan way out, this is our April low up to our rally to our all-time high. We're still in quadrant 4 up here. That's a bullish area for the daily chart, but all in all, on the 15-minute and the 3-bar, nothing bullish happening yet. Okay, so we'll see. All right, everything kind of bearish. Here we have our move down and a bear flag. So are we going to get a measured move down to test the upper third lower line? All right, which kind of looks like they want to test this area right there. So we got some more downside looking like possibly in store for us. We'll see. Here comes the employment situation pretty soon. We'll see if that's what they're looking for. T2123. FNGU, again, we had consolidation over prior consolidation. We lost it. Okay, we couldn't quite hold the higher ground. That's why I say holding the higher ground's very important. You see price moves up, holds the higher ground, and you get a nice measured move up. Takes a little while. That was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to happen. But you did get that measured move up if you stuck with it. Again, on these bull flags, I like to trade in the direction from the bottom up to the top of the flag, releasing 80 to 90% of my position as I get to the top of the flag, keeping the remaining 20% or 10% for the breakout to the upside to benefit from that. Okay, so there's FNGU. On the 15-minute chart, underneath the 200 SMA, again, not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Price action on the 15-minute chart is, here's a high, there's a lower high, so obviously we made some, here's a low, all right, and then here's a lower low, so we're in a downtrend still on FNGU underneath the 200 SMA. Again, right back into the consolidation. If we start breaking major support, that's a red flag. That means things are falling apart. We have not broke major support, FNGU, QQQ, SPY, nothing yet, all right? But we're sure being tested this week, maybe next week, we'll see. So there's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at the economic numbers. Then we're going to go look at the game plans and see how we can extrapolate something for today so we can make a plan to trade the morning open. All right, and here we go here with Max Payne 672. That's for the puts and calls that expire today. All right, and put to call ratio about 2.4 for each call. So 2.4 puts for each call. A little bit of a put squeeze on the table. We'll see what happens. 672 is Max Payne. Today is options expiration Friday. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the dollar. And dollar's in a downtrend. We're in a big bear flag, so there's a move down and over to the right. Dollar's in an uptrend. They're making higher lows and higher highs. Still in that uptrend. Closed yesterday around 99.70 area. That's where we closed yesterday. So still in that daily uptrend, but inside this big bear flag. See the move down and over to the right. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. So U.S. dollar index in an uptrend, but in the big bear flag. Again, we did the Max Payne earnings report for today. It's Friday. Constellation Brand Energy, not brands, Constellation Energy, $113 billion. And KKR, $105 billion. Enbridge, $101 billion. Duke Energy, $98 billion. Okay, they're all going to report this morning. None of them are market movers, but they sure might help out their sectors. Okay, so nothing here is going to really twist the market's arm and send it into a big rally higher or a big dip lower. Okay, so there's the earnings calendar for this week, or the end of the week, Friday. Let's take a look at one more item here. What do I want to look at? The economic calendar. All right, so let me make sure I got the right day here. 6. This is Friday the 7th, right? Okay, so you can see in the past this week, we're still in the government shutdown, all right? So you can see, I don't know if these are delayed reports or they were due to report. I thought jobless claims did report yesterday. We'll see what happens. All right, for today, employment situation comes out in 9 minutes. Consumer sentiment at 10. Our rig count at 1. And then that's it. Consumer credit at 3 p.m. That's it. So let's take a look at, remember this employment situation, that's a market mover. So let's take a look at SPY, look at the game plan. And zoom in here, see what we got going on. So this is supposed to be FNGU. Okay. And we want to look at the game plan here. And we want to look at SPY. Alright, SPY game plan this morning. Let's move this over. Alright, pivot 670.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Alright. Green erases red entry up here over 673.45. Red erases green entry underneath 668.70. We have some support down here at 666. We'll see how much support that's going to provide us. Looking like we made a visit to the 666 area. So employment report could rip us to the upside into this downtrend line. All right, so we'll see what they want to do. I like 7 days till expiration and 14 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5 for the open interest and the liquidity. All right, I trade strikes $2 to $15 out of the money because they're cheaper and I have a small account and they offer less risk. Okay, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Some of these markets are still bullish and in uptrends, and some of them are now bearish in downtrends but still bullish. All right, SPY right now has been moving back, not up. All right, so it's still in an uptrend. Nothing's been broken yet, but it's been moving back here. So we'll see what happens. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that are inside of 2-hour uptrends that reside inside of daily uptrends, inside of weekly uptrends and monthly uptrends. Okay, right now we don't have a 2-hour uptrend, and we definitely don't have a 10-minute uptrend. Well, maybe we do in the pre-market. You know, we got one forming right now, but it's definitely not over VWAP. All right, so again, that's my favorite, is those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that reside inside the 2-hour uptrend that lives inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend, all above the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's the ultimate. That's my favorite trade. We don't have that right now, but we did have that in the past. So take advantage of it when it does materialize. Okay, so there's SPY for this morning. Probably going to mark off this high. Well, you know what? Just going to have to wait till the employment report comes out, because this could rip everything all apart. If we got a 10-minute uptrend, I'm going to look for the continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. That's mainly what I'll be looking for. continuation of a 10-minute uptrend. I will want to purchase in a green candle, a 10-minute uptrend. I want it to be over VWAP. That would be nice. I don't want any dojis or any spinning tops, and I don't want any candles that have more wick than body and tail. So I'll be looking for a 10-minute uptrend as we bounce off of support here at 666. So we'll see what happens. They may come back down here, visit 665, and then bounce. We'll see what happens. So there's QQQ on the 5-minute chart. There's the 15. All right. Again, if we get green erases, red erases green underneath here, see underneath that line, if we have a red erases green, that's an entry to go lower. If we still hold the 10-minute uptrend, again, I'll be looking for a continuation of the uptrend. So we could have red erases green underneath this 669.79. That would be a red erases green entry. And we would have a green erases red right up here over 668.44. So we'll see what happens for today. So there's SPY. QQQ's got a game plan as well. And QQQ, again, we're going to look for continuation of the 10-minute uptrend, which seems to be disappearing just like SPY's did. Again, underneath 660, 607.30 here. That would be a red erases green entry right underneath that. Up here over this 610.50, that would be, from the pre-market's perspective, that would be a red erases, that would be a green erases red entry right up here. So anything over this hump, I'll be looking for a breakout to the upside, 10-minute uptrend. All right, so over that hump would be the green erases red. Underneath this becomes the red erases green. Right now we're in the middle, probably going to mark off the first 15 minutes and trade the breakout of the opening 15 minutes. Remember, Fridays are pretty volatile, so be careful, traders. It can get choppy for the first hour, and they can wiggle it around a lot, trying to shape traders and shape the market as they try to make a lot of these options expire worthless. All right, so be careful out there this morning. Something may not materialize until 10 o'clock or 10:30. All right, so be careful. All right, so QQQ pivot 614.20. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All right, so that's it. CEG missed. And they're hurting, yes. CEG list. All right, it's back to SPY. All right, so I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes, and we'll open up the markets. We're about to get a report that should move the market, so we'll see what happens here.